The camera moves through a busy Los Angeles street on a cold winter morning. A woman sits alone on the sidewalk, her weathered cardboard sign asking for food. People rush past, eyes glued to phones, no one stopping. Then something extraordinary happens. Keanu Reeves, walking alone without his usual entourage, freezes mid-step. His eyes lock onto something the cameras haven't revealed. The street noise fades. A witness later said, "I've never seen anything like it." He just stood there, completely still. But what happened next wasn't just about one actor's random act of kindness. This moment would spark a chain of events that transformed not just one life, but an entire community. Nobody saw it coming, especially not Sarah, the woman whose simple request for food was about to change everything. Los Angeles in December isn't the winter wonderland many expect. No snow blankets the streets, but the morning air carries a sharp chill that cuts through thin jackets and worn sweaters. On North Highland Avenue, where small cafes serve $5 coffee to hurried professionals, Sarah Thompson had spent her third morning watching people rush past. Her story wasn't unusual in L.A. 6 months ago. She had a job, an apartment, and plans for her daughter's college education. Then medical bills piled up. Cancer doesn't care about savings accounts or single mother status. Now, at 47, Sarah sits on a piece of cardboard, her hospital bracelet still around her wrist, asking not for money but for food. That morning started like any other. Sarah watched parents hurry children to school, business people clutch coffee cups, tourists snap photos of palm trees. Nobody noticed her except a street vendor, who sometimes shared leftover fruit. The sun climbed higher, warming the concrete beneath her feet. Then came the moment that would change everything. A black Tesla pulled up to the curb across the street. The door opened and out stepped Keanu Reeves, dressed simply in jeans and a black jacket. No security, no entourage. Just a man walking down a street on a Thursday morning. Sarah didn't even look up. She'd stopped expecting help weeks ago. Keanu Reeves walked past Sarah, then stopped. Something made him turn back. Maybe the hospital bracelet, maybe the handwritten sign asking for food, not money. The world seemed to pause as he studied her situation, his expression changing from curiosity to concern. Maria Rodriguez, a barista at the nearby coffee shop, watched the scene unfold. He didn't just throw money at her and walk away, she recalls. He actually sat down next to her on the sidewalk, right there on the concrete, in his nice clothes, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Sarah remembers looking up, confused by the shadow suddenly blocking the morning sun. "I thought he was going to ask me to move," she says. Instead, he asked my name and if I'd had breakfast. Her voice catches as she continues the story. Nobody had asked me my name in weeks. The next few minutes changed everything. Keanu didn't just offer to buy food. He walked with Sarah to the diner across the street. The morning regulars watched in surprise as the Hollywood star and the homeless woman settled into a booth by the window. He ordered coffee for both of them, says Tom Parker, the diner's owner. Then he just listened to her story. No phones, no pictures, no fanfare. Just two humans having a conversation over breakfast. Sarah told him about her daughter in college, about the cancer diagnosis, about the medical bills that drained her savings. She showed him the hospital bracelet she couldn't bring herself to remove, her last connection to a normal life. Keanu shared something too, his sister's battle with leukemia, his understanding of how medical bills can devastate families. The conversation wasn't just about money or food anymore. It was about being seen, being heard. You could see something change in his face. Maria remembers, watching from the coffee shop window. It wasn't pity. It was recognition. Like he'd found a missing puzzle piece he didn't know he was looking for. But what happened next would prove this wasn't just another celebrity photo opportunity. Keanu had something else in mind. Something that would spark a movement across Los Angeles and challenge how people think about helping others in need. After breakfast, Keanu didn't just say goodbye and disappear into his waiting Tesla. Instead, he asked Sarah to wait while he made a phone call. The diner security camera caught him pacing outside, speaking intensely into his phone for nearly 20 minutes. He came back inside with this look of determination, Tom Parker recalls. Then he did something that left everyone in the diner speechless. Keanu had called his personal financial advisor and his contacts at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Within those 20 minutes, he had set up a plan to handle Sarah's remaining medical bills. But he wasn't finished. Sarah's immediate needs went beyond just clearing debt. She needed a place to stay, a way to get back on her feet, and most importantly, a way to reconnect with her daughter at college. He asked me what I used to do for work, Sarah remembers, wiping tears from her eyes. When I told him I was an administrative assistant for 15 years, he pulled out his phone again. This time, he called his production company's office manager. The next few hours became a whirlwind of activity. Keanu's driver arrived with warm clothes from a nearby store. His assistant showed up with a prepaid phone, so Sarah could call her daughter. The production company's office manager scheduled a job interview for the following week. It wasn't just throwing money at the problem, Maria Rodriguez observes. He created a complete support system in just a few hours. By afternoon, Keanu had arranged temporary housing at a local women's shelter where his charitable foundation had connections. The story might have ended there, another celebrity good deed making headlines for a day. But something different happened. Other customers in the diner, witnesses to this transformation, started asking how they could help. Amanda, a real estate agent having her morning coffee, offered to help Sarah find permanent housing once she got back on her feet. Michael Torres, an attorney finishing his breakfast, provided his card and offered pro bono legal services to help navigate her medical bills. It was like watching a community wake up, Tom Parker says. One person's kindness gave everyone permission to be their best selves. Before Keanu left that afternoon, he made sure Sarah had not just immediate help, but a pathway forward. Yet this was only the beginning of how this chance encounter would transform not just Sarah's life, but spark a movement that would reach far beyond this small diner on North Highland Avenue. News of what happened that morning at Tom's Diner spread quickly through Los Angeles. Not through press releases or stage photos, there weren't any, but through the stories told by people who witnessed it. The coffee shop customers, the diner staff, the morning regulars all shared what they saw. Genuine human connection that transcended celebrity and social status. Local news stations picked up the story, not for its celebrity angle, but for what happened next. Tom Parker, the diner's owner, decided to start a pay-it-forward breakfast program. Anyone who couldn't afford a meal could come in and eat, no questions asked. The cost? Covered by other customers who started leaving extra money specifically for this purpose. It wasn't my idea, Tom admits, his voice thick with emotion. Sarah suggested it. She wanted others to have the same chance she got. Within weeks, 5 other local restaurants adopted similar programs. The movement spread across Highland Avenue, then beyond. Sarah's daughter, Jenny, took a bus from college to reunite with her mother. Their tearful reunion at the women's shelter sparked another wave of change. Jenny started a social media campaign highlighting families separated by medical debt. Her first post featured a photo of her mother's hospital bracelet next to Keanu's handwritten note. Sometimes angels wear black jackets. The campaign caught fire. Healthcare advocates shared it. Medical debt survivors told their stories. A local law firm, inspired by the attorney from the diner, started a pro bono program specifically for families facing medical bankruptcy. They named it the Highland Angel Project. Maria Rodriguez, the barista who witnessed it all, saw her coffee shop transform. People started paying attention to each other, she says. They looked up from their phones. They noticed when someone needed help. The tip jar at her counter now doubles as a small emergency fund for customers in need. But the biggest change came from an unexpected source. Sarah herself, once back on her feet with her new job at the production company, started volunteering at the women's shelter. Her first-hand experience with sudden homelessness made her uniquely qualified to help others navigate their way back. Keanu gave me more than just financial help, Sarah explains, sitting in the same diner booth where everything changed. He showed me that everyone has value. Everyone deserves to be seen. Her weekly support group at the shelter has helped dozens of women find their way back to stability. The movement continued to grow. Local businesses began offering job training programs. The women's shelter expanded its services. Even the hospital where Sarah received her treatment started a new financial counseling program for patients at risk of medical bankruptcy. 3 months after that morning at the diner, a small plaque appeared on the wall above that window booth. It doesn't mention Keanu Reeves or even Sarah by name. It simply reads, "Kindness changes everything. Pass it on." But this story was about to take an even more remarkable turn, one that would challenge how an entire city thinks about helping those in need. 6 months after that fateful morning at Tom's Diner, Sarah Thompson stands at a podium in Los Angeles City Hall. She's no longer the woman from the sidewalk. She's now the executive director of the Highland Angel Foundation, a nonprofit organization that helps families affected by medical debt and homelessness. Her daughter, Jenny, sits in the front row, beaming with pride. "My story could have ended on that sidewalk," Sarah begins, her voice steady and strong. "Instead, it became a beginning." The city council chambers are packed with people whose lives have been touched by the movement that started with one act of kindness. Tom Parker from the diner is there, along with Maria Rodriguez from the coffee shop. They're both board members now. The foundation, initially funded by an anonymous donor, though everyone knows it was Keanu, has helped over 200 families avoid homelessness due to medical debt. But more importantly, it's changed how Los Angeles approaches the problem of sudden homelessness. "We don't just provide financial assistance," Sarah explains, presenting the foundation's new initiative. "We create support networks. When someone falls, we make sure there are people ready to catch them." The program pairs families at risk with those who've overcome similar challenges, creating a community of mutual support and understanding. The transformation extends beyond the foundation. Tom's Diner has become a community hub, hosting weekly meetings where people share resources and connections. The Pay It Forward program has spread to 50 restaurants across Los Angeles. Maria's coffee shop now runs a job training program, teaching barista skills to women from the shelter. But the most profound change is in the people themselves. Jenny, now graduating college, changed her major to social work, inspired by her mother's journey. The attorney who offered help that first morning has restructured his entire practice to focus on medical debt advocacy. Even the hospital where Sarah received treatment has overhauled its financial assistance programs. Keanu Reeves himself has remained quietly involved, showing up occasionally at foundation events without fanfare. "He taught us that fame isn't the point," Sarah says. "Connection is what matters." His production company now has a dedicated internship program for foundation participants, creating pathways to sustainable careers in the entertainment industry. The women's shelter where Sarah first stayed has transformed too. What was once a temporary refuge is now a comprehensive support center, offering job training, counseling, and long-term housing assistance. The waiting room walls are covered with success stories, photos of women who found their way back to stability, each one a testament to the power of community support. Sarah's original hospital bracelet, the one she couldn't bring herself to remove, now sits framed in the foundation's office. Next to it hangs a simple black jacket, donated anonymously. They serve as reminders that transformation often begins in unexpected moments of connection. "People ask me if I'm angry about what happened to me," Sarah tells the city council, wrapping up her presentation. "I tell them I'm grateful, not for the hardship, but for what it taught us all. When we stop seeing homelessness as someone else's problem, when we realize we're all just one crisis away from needing help, that's when real change begins." The council unanimously approves the foundation's proposal for a citywide support network. But this story's impact reaches far beyond city limits, challenging communities across the country to rethink how they help their most vulnerable members. 1 year after that morning on Highland Avenue, Keanu Reeves finally broke his silence about the encounter, not through a press release or media interview, but in a quiet moment after a foundation event. He spoke to a small group of volunteers, his words captured by someone's phone camera. "Everyone talks about the money, the foundation, the programs we've started," he said, hands in his pockets, looking more uncomfortable with attention than the Hollywood star he is. But they're missing the real story. "That morning, I wasn't trying to save anyone. I just stopped to listen. That's all any of us really needs to do." His words cut to the heart of what the Highland Angel Foundation represents. It's not just about money or programs. It's about seeing people, really seeing them, when the world has made them invisible. Sarah's hospital bracelet became a symbol of this truth. Behind every person asking for help is a story of a life interrupted, a journey derailed. The foundation's success isn't measured just in numbers, though those are impressive. Over 500 families helped, 50 restaurants participating in meal programs, 200 job placements. The real measure is in moments of connection. It's in the way people now stop on Highland Avenue, make eye contact, ask names, share stories. Tom's Diner has become more than a restaurant. It's proof that kindness, when genuine, multiplies. The booth where Keanu and Sarah sat that morning has hosted countless conversations between people who might never have met otherwise. CEOs sitting with former homeless individuals. Doctors learning from patients about the real impact of medical debt. Strangers becoming supporters. The truth is, Sarah often says at foundation events, "Keanu didn't just help me that morning. He reminded everyone that we all have the power to stop, to listen, to care." Sometimes that's all it takes to change a life or a city. Today, if you walk down Highland Avenue, you'll find Sarah Thompson having her morning coffee at Tom's Diner. She's not sitting in a booth anymore. She's usually surrounded by people, helping them navigate the same challenges she once faced. The hospital bracelet that once marked her lowest point now hangs framed on the wall, next to countless photos of lives transformed. Jenny graduated with honors in social work, giving a commencement speech about how her mother's experience shaped her future. "My mom taught me that rock bottom can become a foundation," she told her graduating class. "You just need someone willing to help you build." Keanu still visits the diner occasionally, slipping in quietly to share coffee with Sarah and hear about the foundation's progress. He never takes credit, never seeks attention, but his impact lives on in every person who stops to help, every stranger who becomes a friend, every life rebuilt from the ground up. The booth where it all started has a small brass plaque now. It doesn't mention names or dates. It simply reads, "In this space, two strangers showed us that everyone deserves to be seen." Their story became our story. Sarah's final words at the foundation's anniversary summed it up perfectly. Sometimes angels wear black jackets, sometimes they wear hospital bracelets. But mostly, they look just like you and me. The Highland Angel Foundation started with one moment, one choice to stop and see another person's humanity. Now it's your turn to be part of this growing movement of compassion and change. Your next walk down the street could be the moment that transforms someone's life, or your own. The foundation has created a simple guide called 5 Minutes of Connection that shows how small actions can create massive change. You can find a link to download it in the description below. It's filled with real stories from people whose lives change because someone took time to notice them, to listen, to care. Sarah and Jenny have started a nationwide challenge called the Bracelet Promise. Take a moment each day to notice someone who others might walk past. Learn their name, hear their story. Share your experiences using #BraceletPromise and watch how your single action creates ripples of change in your community. Want to do more? The Highland Angel Foundation now has chapters starting in cities across the country. Visit their website to find your local chapter or learn how to start one. Every city needs angels, people who understand that transformation starts with connection. Remember Tom's Diner's Pay It Forward program? You can start something similar in your community. The foundation provides free guidance on how to partner with local restaurants and businesses to create support networks for those in need. Most importantly, share this story. Not because it's about Keanu Reeves or Sarah Thompson, but because it shows us what's possible when we stop seeing homelessness as someone else's problem. One morning, one moment of genuine connection can spark a movement that changes countless lives. As Keanu said that day in the diner, the real story isn't what I did. It's what everyone else chose to do after. Now it's your turn to be part of the next chapter. Because sometimes, angels don't wear black jackets or hospital bracelets. Sometimes, they look exactly like you.